Hello, America and the world. Welcome to another episode of Life After Lockup. This is a program that is designed to show the public another side of the criminal justice system. Just for your information, only 1/3 of the inmates that get incarcerated actually stay out of prison once they go in and get out. But 2/3 go back for whatever the reasons might be. And we're here just to kind of give you some stories of the 1/3, to kind of give you some information that might hopefully help you to understand the criminal justice system in a different light, and also to show you maybe some of the struggles or the accomplishments that ex-offenders can achieve. Before we get into today's program, I want to remind you of the things that Life Community is doing in the city of Paducah, Kentucky. Every first Monday at 5:30, at the Christ Temple Annex building, we have what we call the ex-offenders support group, where we get with ex-offenders around the community, talk about things to try to help them to stay out, help them to get jobs, help them to be familiar with their surroundings, to get back with their families and things of that nature. Every second and fourth Monday, we have what we call Teen Ease. It is a program designed for teenagers 13 to 17 to come out and have food, fun, and fellowship. That's from 5 to 7 every second and fourth Monday of the month. Every Tuesday at 11:30, we have what we call the Lifesaver class. It's a class designed for anyone with any life-controlling issues. It's an 8-week course, faith-based. If you have unforgiveness, low self-esteem, drugs or alcohol, whatever the case may be, come out and get some help. That's every Tuesday at 11:30. Also, we just started a Lifesaver class on Wednesdays from 5:30 to 7:30. So if you can't make it out to Tuesday's Lifesaver class, you can come out Wednesdays from 5:30 to 6:30. Every Wednesday, these classes are held at the Christ Temple Annex building, 523 North 12th Street. Always, you can call us at 575-3823 or email us at lifecommunities@bellsouth.net. Today, we're excited about having Brother Willian Webster with us, and he's here with us today. I want to welcome him to the program. I'm going to shake your hand today. How you doing, man?
How you doing, Pastor?
I'm doing good. We want to go back and because you went to prison early on in your life, back in the 70s. I kind of want to get some information about what got you on that particular road of being I guess a criminal or having that kind of mentality. What would you think is the reason why you even took that path in the first place?
Well, I came up from a family that didn't have a lot, and we had a lot of issues in my family, a dysfunctional family. Mm-hmm. And I always saw what others had, mm-hmm. and I wanted it.
Okay.
And I put it in my head I could get it. So I started on the criminal path, or as I say, throwing bricks at the penitentiary at a very early age.
Wow.
You know, I think by the time I was, 15, I did 6 months. That's before I ever went to the prison. That was my first introduction of getting ready to go.
Oh, wow.
And I did 6 months for snatching a purse with nothing in it.
Wow. 6 months in the juvenile detention center?
Well, no, I went to the county jail.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
At 15?
At 15.
Wow. And so you did 6 months there, but that didn't necessarily teach you anything. It just kind of made you a better criminal, you think, or what do you think?
Well, it made me feel that I wasn't going to deal with the mystery of taking something that I couldn't see.
Oh, I see.
I had to see money to know that I'm going to get money.
Right.
So
okay.
I just changed what I was doing.
Okay.
And graduated to something different.
Okay. And when you say graduated to something different, it's like armed robbery, something like that? Or?
Yeah, I became a stick-up man.
Wow. Yeah. And this was from 15?
I think I started my stick-up enterprise basically by the time I was 16.
Wow. Yeah. Hmm. And that went on for how long?
I stayed a stick-up man up until I got caught and went to penitentiary, and I went to penitentiary at age 21. Oh,
okay. So your first bout with prison, you was at 21 years old. This was about in the 70s, right?
Yes.
Okay.
1970.
And how much time did you get for that?
I got 3 to 12 years.
And how much did you do in all?
I did close to 4 years.
Okay. And now that time basically taught you. Basically, I would say, would you think that time kind of taught you maybe to have a little bit different life, or what do you think that time did?
At the time, being 21 years old, I didn't understand the way I understand things now.
Okay.
Or as I became to understand now.
Okay.
You know, being a criminal, it's like a lifestyle that you can't walk away from, because the more you get, the more you want.
Right, right.
And the more you get, the more you want to keep it.
Right.
So that's where your trouble started. I mean, I didn't just leave the criminal enterprise at that point. Later on, I had to change because I went from a stick-up man to a drug dealer.
Oh, okay. Now, all this is in Chicago, right?
All in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Now, that whole life, how would you describe that life that you was living as a stick-up man or a drug dealer or whatever? How would you describe that life?
I describe that life as, and to me, in a way, it's very unhealthy, and you become a very unhappy person without knowing it. You think you're happy because you got all the things that you want, because you're not satisfied with just having the things you need. So now that you got it, you're trying to figure out how to keep it.
Right.
And so your life is never happy, because you're always worrying about somebody trying to get this from you or get that from you, or you trying to keep up with somebody else, how your car look, how your clothes look.
Right, right. And what about friends? I mean, because I know with me, I really didn't trust a lot of people. And the friends, I figured that the ones that I had, I thought they were only with me because of what I had.
Yeah.
And so you really couldn't really call people friends per se, because you felt like they had ulterior motives. Is that the same thing you experienced?
Yeah, but most of the time, because you'd consider most people as associate, because as long as you got it and you with them, you're all good with that. But to put the experience the way I did in the penitentiary, all the friends that I thought I had before I went to the penitentiary, they wasn't there while I was in the penitentiary. They didn't write, they didn't send me anything.
Right, right.
No pictures, no letters, nothing.
Wow.
I couldn't even call them. You know, so that friendship, it's not a friendship, it's just an association.
Right, right,
You know,
right.
As long as you're doing good, we're gonna associate with you. When you get broke, we're gone.
We gone. Now, the first time you went in, you were basically a criminal in a sense, and you was okay. I won't say okay with the time, but you got the time because you felt like you did the crime, and you deserved to go in a sense, I guess. Now, but you went again.
Yes.
And you said, we were talking earlier, you said it was 20 years later?
About 20 years later.
About 20 years later. And this time you went, you were innocent.
I was innocent of that crime.
Okay, and kind of walk us through that. How did you even end up getting considered, and how did you end up going?
I got stopped on a traffic violation, and they said that it was a burglary that had been committed and that I committed. I've never been a burglar. That's just wasn't on my MO.
Right.
But they carried me in for that, dealt with the traffic violation, and then they gave me the case for the burglary. And the only thing they had on the burglary against me was that the police say that I did it, and I say I didn't. And they saying, well, if the police say you said you did it, you did it. I didn't understand that one, because there's no witness, no merchandise, no nothing, no cameras with me on it, none of that. And I knew they didn't have none of that because I didn't commit the crime.
Right.
But
right.
I stayed locked up for it.
And you stayed locked up in the county jail, but actually some months, over a year.
Yes.
Basically waiting to go to trial or something like that?
On the case, it cares 1 to 3. On 1 to 3, you do 12 months. You go to penitentiary for 12 months. But I did 12 months in the county jail, and I copped out to the crime because it only carried a year anyway, and I did it. But at the time, they changed the law in the state of Illinois that you had to automatically go to the penitentiary for 61 days. You know.
Wow.
But I actually went for 64 days because they don't count holidays and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And they don't count 31 days in a month. They only count 30 days a month. I went in July, and in July and August, both had 31 days. So I gave 2 days there, too. So I ended up doing 14 months, and about 14 months, 2 days for a crime I didn't commit. But how I did that time without letting anger come into me is I just chalked it up to I'm doing time for a crime I committed at another time and didn't get caught. So it made me easier to do it without coming out with that anger, because I knew if I come out with that anger, I want to go back out there and get it again.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that you said 20 years after after you got out from back in the 70s. So this was like what, early 80s or something like that when you went in, late 80s?
Probably early 90s.
Okay, early 90s. Okay, so so you end up going in knowing that you didn't do it. How were you functioning even before you copped out? And did you think they was going to find out, or did you think that something else was going to happen to where they was going to prove that you didn't?
I figured that since they had nothing, I would beat it. So I had a public defender. He kept telling me I'm not going to beat it, so I fired him, got a new one. And the first day I saw him, he came in with the same thing. You might as well take the time, because they're going to convict you of it. So I asked for a jury trial, and the day I was supposed to go pick a jury, all of a sudden, the public defender I had dropped off the case, so I have to wait again to get another one and set a jury trial up again. So by the time they kept doing all this here, I got an attitude with the wait and just told them, just give me the time, let me go.
Wow.
Let me just go do this time. That was the one time I did get angry, was that day in court, because I knew they was not going to let me beat this.
Wow. So in order for you, and I think this is one of the things, because I've interviewed a couple of guys. One of them did like 32 years for nothing. Another one did like about 38 years for nothing. And the mentality that a person, and both people were after getting out, they were pretty decent about all of that time. And I guess it's a mentality that you have to keep from being bitter. So in your case, it was like, basically you're saying, I'm going to accept this for something I didn't do, because some things that I did do, they didn't catch me on.
Well, it made it easier. For me to do the time without going in the door with taking that anger in there with me and bringing it out with me.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The system wasn't set up for me to win.
I got you. Right. Right.
It's just not set up that way. Sometimes you just can't win, and you just got to find a way to deal with it.
Wow.
You know? So if you come out angry with the system, then you're bound to get back in it.
That's true. That's true. And with your word against a policeman's word, automatically they're going to believe the policeman. That's just automatically. And so here you are, did that 14 months, and now this was, like you said, early 90s or whatever. Now you got out, and what changed your mind about going back into that criminal mentality?
Because I didn't want to deal with the violence anymore. Trust me, it wasn't easy when I got out. It could have been easier if I took a different route, but I didn't want to go back, and I didn't want to deal with that. So I just went off into a brand new world, you know, and that world was a very dark world. You know, I mean, I was homeless at times, I was on drugs at times, but I didn't go back to the criminal, robbing and stealing and carrying guns. I didn't touch a gun anymore, you know, until one day my life started to get better, but I didn't see it. But I attribute that to God, you know, God in my life.
Right.
You know, trust in Him. See, sometimes I think He has to take you down before you'll come up.
Oh, yeah.
But once you get all the way down, there's nowhere else to go.
There's really nowhere else to go. And the thing about it, I think sometimes we say, you know, God has to take us down, but sometimes He allows us to just go down to rock bottom, so that we can eventually find out that we need Him. Yeah. Now let me ask you this, because this is kind of interesting. Between the time that you got out from doing the almost 4 years and the time that they arrested you for the crime that you didn't do, how was your life then? I mean, were you still kind of in the game a little bit then, or?
I was still dabbling on a small scale, but I wasn't robbing people, you know. Okay. You know, I mean, into the drugs and things on a lighter scale. Right. You know.
But it wasn't as deep as it was before.
Oh no.
Before. Okay. So that time between the time that you got out and the time that you got arrested for the one that you didn't do, you were still kind of a little bit in the game a little bit, but not as deep.
Not as deep.
Okay. So when you did the time that you did for a crime that you didn't do, is that what really kind of altered your whole mindset about everything?
About prison, yes, because I mean, by that time I was older,
Okay.
and I mean, see, crime in the streets takes things away from people that they don't see. See, when I went to the penitentiary, the first time, my mother went, the children that I had at the time went.
Yep, right.
You know, at the time I went to the penitentiary, I was the father of 3 with 1 on the way. Okay, they all went to the prison.
Right.
You know, they just wasn't locked behind the bars, but we takes a lot of people to prison with us.
You're right.
Our families, our loved ones,
Right.
they go to prison just like we do because we're gone.
Right.
And we're not there. So my lifestyle that took me to the penitentiary didn't just take me to the penitentiary, it took my family from me. I lost all of my family because of my street life. It was so bad. What made me leave the streets was I almost lost a child because of the type of person I was.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Because of the type of enemies I had.
Oh, okay.
One of my sons almost got killed because somebody was after me.
Wow.
And that turned me around. And I just walked away from my whole life, my family, all the people I knew, and went into an area where I knew nobody. And I changed my name from what people knew.
Right.
I went so far undercover. I changed the way I act, I dressed, everything. So that was the beginning of a change there for me.
Right.
I had to become somebody I had no idea who he was.
So now that incident with your son woke you up in a sense, I guess, to recognize that you not only pulling yourself into danger, but somebody that you love could also end up getting killed because of you.
Yeah.
So you change your mind about that now. From that point to now, because you're a completely different man. If I didn't know your background, I wouldn't know that you had that type of background. So what do you contribute your now mindset to? Because even though you said you were homeless, how do you be homeless and then you know how to go out and do stuff to get money? How do you accept being homeless and not ripping off somebody or whatever?
Because you learn from others how
Okay.
to live in this life, where the soup kitchens are, where you can go eat, where you can go take a shower, where you can go you learn. But I wasn't homeless because I had to be.
Okay.
You know? I mean, I had an income that I didn't have to be home.
Okay.
I took myself through all of that to learn how to live with nothing.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
Okay.
so that I could change the person that I was.
So it's almost like a detoxing. It's like a self-inflicted detoxing that you did just to help you to have a different kind of life. And that's really interesting because I never really heard anybody do it like that. So you weren't homeless because you had to be. You kind of did it to basically detox you from that lifestyle, to give you a whole different mindset. Now, have you always been into God, or did that kind of come later?
It came later. I've always believed in God, but I just didn't participate with it
Right.
the way I should because my lifestyle wasn't there.
Right. Right.
You know, I didn't open my eyes to see it. See, all my life, I chased a dream.
Right.
From a little boy, all I ever wanted to be was happy. So I figured the money, the clothes, the women, and cars, and jewelry, and all that would make me happy. When I found out it didn't, then I went into something I didn't know nothing about. That's where the homelessness and that type of lifestyle came in, because I didn't know anything about these kind of people.
Right. Right.
You know, I lived in a different world from them. So I came into their world, and I changed the image of who I was to destroy the old me to become a new me.
Right.
And
right.
it was a little hard for me because I didn't know no other life.
Right, right, and you know, even understanding that little part right there, because when I got out of prison, I'm trying to do the right thing. First time in my life ever struggling to do right, and it was a different life. It's a whole different mindset around a whole different group of people. So it's an adjustment to that. So you coming from Chicago, how'd you end up here in Paducah?
I came here because of one son. I said to the individual, he'd been trying to get me here for years, and I wouldn't come. And that day came that I came here, and I guess it was like, it's a brand new life for me, because this just wasn't me here. But it was the greatest move I ever made. From the day I got here, my whole life just went up here. All of that time I spent down there, it just went up.
And how long have you been in Paducah now?
I've been here going on 4 years now.
Going on 4 years. And but you had basically still had left the criminal lifestyle even before you moved here.
Oh yeah.
And how difficult was that in Chicago, being around, I guess, the same area, or were you around the same city, or around the same place where you were?
The same city, just a different neighborhood.
Very good, man. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, explain that a little bit now, because that's important.
See, when you want to walk away from a criminal lifestyle, the first thing you have to do is put it in your mind that's what you want to do. Second thing, you got to leave the people, places, and things. You can't go back around the same people, same place, same thing.
Right.
Because if you go back around them and you see what they got, you want to get right back into it. And here's another thing. A lot of guys have realized that usually if you've been out there, say, selling drugs, that's what you do. When you come home, whichever one of your friends doing good, the first thing he give you as a greet is a pack, which is drugs.
Yeah.
Okay, get on your feet. So before you even get out the door good, he already putting you back in the drug game.
Right.
So he already setting you up to go back.
And a lot of times those guys, they don't really mean no harm. I don't think they mean any harm. I think they just, that's all they know to do to try to help you. And I don't think it's like an actual setup from their standpoint. They just seem like to them they want to help you, but you have to have enough. And I like what you said. You got to have it in your mind that you're not going back. You got to have it in your mind that you want a whole different walk. And it's so important how you said it. Get away from the people, away from the places, and away from the things that you used to do. Because other than that, it's going to be easy for you to get wrapped right back up in the game. That's why over 2/3 of the people that get out go back in, because they don't change their mindset.
They don't change the mindset. And also, say when I was young coming up, I loved to wear a lot of jewelry, chains around my neck, dressing, suits, and all that kind of stuff. And that was one of the first things I learned when I tried to get away, was I got rid of all the dress clothes I had.
Wow.
Everything. My family thought I had gone crazy. I threw all this away. And went to the Goodwill and bought me some clothes.
Wow.
To change who I was.
That's what
because, people that see this know me. As I was coming up from a youngster, about, 14, 15 or something, they started calling me Slick. So I lived up to the name.
I see what you're
but
saying.
when I left the area, I dropped that name because nobody in this area knew who Slick was.
Okay.
And I became Will.
Okay.
I changed who I was, the image, everything, and never went back to where I came from. Years later, I went through that event. It took years before I would go back to my old neighborhood. I stayed clean away from there for almost 15, 20 years.
Wow. Now, see, this is really, really good, because you made your mind up. And this is what because there are guys in the county jail here in Paducah that's going to be watching this program. And it's going to have to be something that you're going to have to do. You know, you did this. You got rid of your clothes, got rid of all these things to lose that image.
To lose the image.
And sometimes, you said something so very important, sometimes we want to keep the image that other people gave us.
Right. And that's the part that gets you in trouble. Like, from the time I was, I think, 15 years old, my father gave me a car. He took it back, and at 15, I bought my own car. I had a car ever since. I walked around for years, didn't even own a car.
Wow.
Here, when I got here, I bought a car. Old beat-up car, but it was the most reliable car you ever want to see. And I never complained about it.
Wow.
And one day I looked up, now I got a nicer car.
Right.
But it just happened without me looking for these things or caring about it.
Right.
I was happy with that old beat-up car with the paint coming all off of. It took me up and down the highway, probably about 10 times from here to Chicago and back. It was the most reliable car. When I got rid of it, it was still reliable.
Wow.
But I'm saying, I got rid of the old me
Right.
that had to have a car right then.
Right.
I didn't care who got stuck up, got in my way. I had to have that car. Or I had to have that outfit. But when I got rid of that mentality, where I didn't care about the things I didn't have.
Right.
You know, just all I know, as long as I can get over with a roof over my head, eat me some food, have me a drink of water, whatever it is that I drink, I'm happy.
Wow.
Go to church on Sunday, I'm happy.
Wow.
I'm a person, I came from a person that didn't participate to a person that's willing to participate.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I don't just go to church, I have
You're
functions
active.
in the
Right,
church.
right.
I'm active member of the church,
Right,
not
right.
just a sit-down member. I've
Right.
always just been a sit-down, see you this Sunday, might not see you no more for 6 weeks.
Right,
You
right,
know,
right.
nowadays, I won't miss church unless I'm sick, go out of town.
Right.
And I don't get sick that often.
Man. And here's the thing, man, because what you're saying is so important. You're gonna have to make your mind up, and these young cats that's in there are gonna have to make their minds up to want to do better, even if it's nobody there to encourage them. Their minds are gonna have to be made up.
They're gonna have, man.
You did this on your own as far as deciding. Now God has helped you from that point, but you made it a choice within you to decide to do better. And you did whatever it took. You know, whatever it took for you. If you got to get rid of your clothes, get rid of the chain, get rid of all this stuff, go to a old beat up car, whatever you needed to do to get rid of that mentality, that's what you did. Okay, we got about 2 minutes left. Is there anything else that you might want to say to those that might be watching?
I'd like to say to them that if you want to find out where you are in life, first look at the man in the mirror. Today that you can look at that man in the mirror and start to smile back at him, then that lets you know that you have changed from the person that you are.
Wow, that is very deep. I'm so grateful that you came to share your story. I know it's going to help a lot of people, and I just say congratulations to you for the accomplishments that you've made since you've been out of prison. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for inviting me.
God bless you. Thank you so much for watching Life After Lockup. God bless you, and you have a marvelous day.